Hey you, and welcome to my channel. My name is Tina and my aim is to improve your drawings just like others have done for me when I just started out. In this video I'll show you how I go about drawing these snow leopard's eyes in pastel. All of the materials I use are listed in the description below, so let's get on with it. I start by blocking in all of the black parts with a black pastel stick by Faber-Castell. This is the darkest pastel stick I have found so far. But when I have filled in all the black parts, I push the pigment into the paper by tapping it with my finger. In case you're wondering, I use gloves to keep my hands clean. I really love working with pastel, but I don't like messy hands, so the gloves come in handy. After that, I go in with soft pastels for the underpainting so that my foundation is already in place. That way I can already have a feel for where the undertone is more cool or warm. I get the colors blocked in where they have to be, but not too worried about details yet since we are going to blend everything out. You just want to have a nice solid base to go over with the pencils. At this point, be sure not to press too hard on your soft pastel. You don't want to fill the tooth of the paper yet. You just want enough pigment on there to have a base. I blend out the soft pastels with a soft tool to get it really nice and smooth. You don't want hard edges in your end piece. Be sure that you don't mix the light areas with the black, otherwise they will become an ugly grey color. On to my favorite part, the details. I love the way you can already see how it's going to look more or less with the undertone, but when you add the details in, it really brings it all together. The main focus here is to go in the direction of the fur so that you have a really realistic look. Be sure to get the colors right as well, so use a warm grey and brown where there is a warmer tone and a more cool bluish grey where the tone is cooler. The fur should always overlap, so don't use robotic strokes where everything is equally long and the same angle or distance from each other. When you add a lot more different strokes, longer and shorter, it will seem a lot more realistic. You may have noticed that I use a wooden board to tape my paintings to. I started out with foam board, but that really wasn't sturdy enough. The wooden board keeps the painting from moving and it doesn't shake when I press onto it like the foam board did. This way my video isn't shaky for you. I still blend the fur out a little by tapping it with my finger. You want the fur to look so soft that you could pet it. Although I wouldn't recommend petting a snow leopard in real life. Use browns, dark greys and even some pinks to get that really realistic feel. Because white fur is not just white and grey. Again, be sure to keep an eye out for the direction of the fur and the length. It varies a lot, even on a small piece like this. For example, you can see that the white fur underneath the eye is much shorter than the fur on the left side of the head, so always keep this in mind. Onto the eye now. I start by blocking in the colors to get the undertone right. Then I use my finger to blend it all out. There are lots of different colors in the eye, so be sure to get them right and blend them together so that you have a smooth transition between the different colors. Leave the reflection in the eye untouched as much as you can, because even though you can go light over dark with pastels, you can never get it as white as when you didn't put color on there in the first place. In the reflection, I like to add some blues to give the idea of a sky being reflected in there. And then I finish it off by adding that reflective light that bounces off the black part underneath the eye. Add the finishing touches on the fur around the eye and then onto the bridge of the nose. I go about this the same way as I did for the fur around the eyes. Use cooler tones for the cool parts and warmer greys and browns for the warmer parts. A wildlife artist yourself? To get 4 reference pictures like these every month, just sign up for my monthly newsletter through the link in the description. On top of that, I use an off-white to get those hairs in that are reflecting the light, and the black to darken the spots again. In the meantime, if you are liking this tutorial so far and you want to support me without paying a dime, click that like button. Hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, that way you will get notified every time I put out a new video. This helps me grow my channel and reach other people like yourself. Add some darker fur in between the highlighted part as well to get more of a realistic feel. In real life you can also see some of the hairs underneath that are not reflecting the light and are therefore darker. Now on to the last part of the painting, the right eye and the fur around it. I use the same technique again and be sure not to use robotic strokes. It's best to take a break in between your drawing time when you feel like you are getting bored and want to finish it quickly, because that's the point where you will start to use that robotic motion, and you want to make sure to spend an equal amount of time on both sides. I thought I would show you the picture I'm using as a reference photo. I got this from Pixabay and made a crop of the eyes for this tutorial. Pay close attention to the eyes and the fur around them, because that's what draws the attention of the viewer. If you get those right, you're halfway there. If you want to try pastels out for the first time, don't make the same mistakes I did. I started with a generic pastel paper and got really frustrated as the results were never what I wanted them to be. I couldn't get as much layers on there as I wanted, which made my pieces not as realistic. So some good advice: invest in Pastel Mod paper by Claire Fontaine and save yourself the trouble and the headache. When everything starts to come together and it's almost finished, take a step back and have a look from a distance at your painting. That way you can judge the values and tones better. And when I did that this time, I could see that I needed to add more shadow to the eyes. When I added some shadow, it looks way better. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support, as it helps to grow my channel and reach other people like yourself. Hope to see you again next Friday, and in the meantime, have a great week.